Hey everybody, good morning. This is Tim Walsh, Company Live for the Illinois Fire Service Institute. Today we're at the Cherry Valley Fire Protection District, week 7 of BOF hands-on training. And we're going to get into BOF discussion here in a little bit. We're also going to show you a demonstration of the FlAIM system, which you see over my shoulder, which is the new virtual reality training system that we're demoing in BOF and in-house academy here in the state of Illinois. Very effective tool to train firefighters, both new and old. So let's take a look at this. Let's get you signed in. Write in the comments section where you're watching from, and if you have questions for us as we move through this program today, please let us know. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Tim Walsh at Cherry Valley Fire Protection District, just outside of Rockford, with BOF Week 7 hands-on practicals. And I'm joined by Jim Kahn, who's the Northwest Regional Director for the Illinois Fire Service Institute. Jim not only runs this site for BOF, but his job is to get free cornerstone training for fire departments all across the Northwest Central area of Illinois. And this program, BOF, that we're talking about today, is a funded program from the Illinois State Fire Marshal, Jim Rivera. And his office has funded this program for several years. Jimmy's been involved since the inception. Jimmy, tell me what you do here, how BOF works, how it all came about.
BOF Blended works through the online portion. They do the curriculum online for 18 weeks, and they show up here between 9 and 10 weekends, alternating weekends. For here, practical's about 160, 170 hours. And then again, the curriculum every week to augment that.
And then there are additional sites besides Cherry Valley. This is the biggest. And how many times have you done BOF training here at Cherry Valley since the inception?
This is the 9th class that we've hosted here at Cherry Valley.
So yeah, we're moving towards 1,000 students graduating from this program in December. The students over my left shoulder here will be graduating in December. So 1,000 brand new firefighters in the state of Illinois at no cost to any of the fire departments or the students, because it's grant funded, as I said, by the Illinois State Fire Marshal. The 3 other sites are Swansea
in the St. Louis area, Sherman, Springfield area, Cherry Valley, and Antioch, Lake County.
Antioch, Lake County, yep. And those sites change, and we deliver this program twice a year. So we have a fall,
spring session and fall session.
Okay, so the spring session registration should be opening up pretty soon, right after the holidays, right?
It should be open in the next couple weeks.
Oh, next couple weeks, awesome. Okay, Jim, any other, what rotations are you working on out here today?
Today is more roof work, roof ladder, ventilation, charge 2.5 up the stairs. We're going to 4th and 5 stories. More SCBA, they always need SCBA work in the SCBA maze. The virtual reality, what we're doing. So the rotations are full. It takes us all night.
And I know that you do live burns here. We believe in live burning here at the Illinois Fire Service Institute. But I know yesterday you had a chance to try this and wear it. What do you think?
I did it right here with Tim Romine. It's completely different than what I thought. A lot of things that I had no idea we were capabilities even doing and seeing.
Do you see the value for a training officer to be able to use this as a tool in a training station like you are today?
I do, especially bringing it to an introduction to different things and then transitioning then to actual hands-on. We still got to keep the hands-on focus on this, but absolutely it is a great place to start and then move into the hands-on.
Thanks, I appreciate your time, and I get back to work.
Thank you.
Okay, talk to you later. We're going to move up and talk to Tim Romine, who's one of the rotating BOF instructors and is actually putting the FlAIM system on the students. And then we'll watch a student operate it, and then I'll bring in Evan Wing, who's the Director of Business Development for FlAIM, and he's actually going to take us through the whole system and an interior firefight. So let's move up front and see Tim put the system on. You guys can say hi to your mom and dads and your boyfriends and girlfriends. It's all cool. So keep working, Timmy. So Tim is putting the system on now. The red vest replicates heat, not only outside but inside while the firefighter's operating. Then there's an SCBA, which connects the heat. And there's a face piece when you go interior, just like your regular SCBA, that shows the air pack bleed down so that you can control breathing. This system also involves communications. So it attacks the 5 line of duty death issues associated by NIOSH: improper communications, lack of accountability, lack of SOPs. All those things are built into the system, and it provides muscle memory to the brain as a training tool to get students, both new and old, into the fire service and hopefully out of the fire service with a pension, as many of us now enjoy. So Timmy's going to get this set up here. They're going to do a propane exercise. We're just going to kind of watch, and I'll talk over it as Tim gets it set up. So as the student arrives on the scene, he can teleport himself up to the tank so that he or she can flow water. The bottom of the FlAIM trainer system, as he opens the pipe, will also provide nozzle reaction as he's flowing water. He will also feel the heat through his vest, and what you're seeing on the screen is what he's seeing, except as he's in the outside, there's a whole neighborhood around him. He's not seeing the classroom and the students that are sitting behind him. He actually feels like he's on the scene, which is what virtual reality is all about. The reason that we use this tool is to talk about flame propagation and the control of a propane tank out in the field that you see in many gas stations today. So we're using it for this scenario before they actually do live propane training to kind of show how you flow correctly on a propane tank that's involved in fire. And you can see that this student's doing a very good job, and now the FlAIM system has told him that the fire is out. Tim, go have him look up at the screen there. Oh, we already reset it. That's fine. It will show you the amount of gallons used. It will show you SCBA consumption and what actually occurs. So we're going to move over and talk to Tim before we get another student in it. Buddy, how are you?
Good.
Good. This is Tim Romine. He's one of the BOF directors here at the Illinois Fire Service Institute. I got my microphone, buddy. We're good. Unless you can get yours, you got it? Good to go. So we're going to talk a little bit about what he's doing here and how he's taking this product all over the state of Illinois. So we have 162 students in BOF at 4 different sites, 62 students here in Cherry Valley, just outside of Rockford. And Tim, you've been a propane firefighter for a long time. You teach propane in the industrial section for the Illinois Fire Service Institute. Tell me about what you see, the benefits of this tool.
The benefits for us right now with this, especially with this group, is we're able to train and show them the training and the techniques on propane fires, on how to address the tank and making sure you got a good sheen on the tank, and so we can approach it in a safe manner. Then when they get the actual prop here, then we can actually go out and apply what we've learned inside here. And the nice thing about this is it actually gives you that reality part, because if the students don't get to it in time, it does blab you.
Yeah, so let's talk about the first day that we had it together, and you and I were both kind of naysayers, right? How long have you been a fireman?
37 years.
Yeah, I've been one 40 years, and you and I were like, this is just a video game. I don't really see any learning experience from this, but talk about what it's like when you first put those goggles on and you step into the fire station, which is probably the nicest fire station I've ever been in, right? Because it's virtual reality.
It's pretty realistic. When you step in, you look at the fire station, you see all the lockers around, you turn around, there's an engine or a ladder truck there, and it's just about as close as you can get to real life.
Let's talk about nozzle reaction and the vest heating up as you're actually moving through the scenarios.
So when I was playing with it, of course I had help with the pressure and stuff on the nozzles, but After a bit, I went through a couple of scenarios, and I mean, I could feel the weight of the hose on my arms, you know, where I was starting to fatigue a little bit. And then the vest actually does heat up where it does get warm. I mean, you could break a sweat with this thing.
Yeah, so we'll let you get back to training the students, and let's get somebody else suited up. I'm going to bring in Evan Wing, the Director of Business Development, to kind of talk about the product, and then we'll get Evan in the suit after you do one more evolution, and we'll do an interior firefight, so these guys can take a look at that. It's pretty cool.
Perfect.
Okay, Evan, come on in. So as I said, I have Evan Wing here, the Director of Business Development from FlAIM. Evan, I want you to talk about the product in a little more detail than I can. Obviously, I'm an end user. I've used it 2 times. I've watched the students here. They're much better at it than I am because I'm 59 and they're a lot younger than me. They're used to working this type of technology and I am not. So please give me an overview of the FlAIM system, why it was developed,
Sure.
and why you think it's a benefit.
Yeah, no, perfect. And you know, again, thanks for having us, and thanks for everyone that's out there watching. But I think you hit on a lot of the key points of what the FlAIM trainer is supposed to do. Number one, we know it's never going to replace live fire training. It was never meant to do that, nor do we want that to happen. But what you'll see is Tim went through with the heat vest, the nozzle reaction force, other things that we're building into it, radio communications, flashlight use, etc. We're really training the brain and the critical decision and the critical thinking skills that we face, or that firefighters face, on the fire ground. So it's an important tool, and I think the connection between the instructor and the student or the learner being able to give immediate feedback and telling someone, hey, you know, you probably should have attacked that from a different angle, or you know, any number of things that you can give. But like Tim said, it is, the heat vest goes up to about 190 Fahrenheit, and you can actually feel that even more when you turn on your turnout gear, right? So we're trying to make it as realistic as possible. Inside the hose reel is where we have the gaming computer, and we try not to use the word game there, but we realize it's not a game, right? We don't want people to have fun training, but we do want them to look forward to training. That's the important part, and especially with some of the next generation that's coming in, everyone expects to use technology, right? So it's another way, and I think IFC does a great job. It's a stop along the circuit of total training. But some of the new innovations that we have, multi-user, so having incident command, you can have different people from all over the world in the same scenario, or your mutual aid district, so that as I look, and if Tim's in VR with me, I see him in the scenario. So if I'm doing incident command and I'm staying exterior, and you have someone that's performing interior operations, you're able to communicate. And that's something that will queue up as well, maybe when I go into the system, but you have a push-to-talk ability to be able to communicate.
Yeah, so that gets back into some of the NIOSH rules that we were talking about that tie to line of duty does. So the actual VR training provides some capability there to get that muscle memory built in before we take someone in a live fire building and put them in front of live fire. Hopefully it gives them a little bit of a taste of it. And what I like about it, that we were talking about before we went on camera, was the computer overview that's going to happen very soon in the next few months here, where a trainer that's in charge of a group of students or a firehouse, the training officer, training chief of the department, can go back in and check efficiencies as to how the student performed within the system to see that we're not just checking boxes, but they're actually doing it. Could you elaborate on that a little more?
Yeah, absolutely. And you think about the objective side of an evaluation, right? So in the scenarios, the training instructor, you know, the training chief, whoever, can program what they want to be monitoring during training, right? So if you do a 360, I'll use the term similar to a game, right? You can have that as an achievement. Performed a 360. Did you isolate utilities? Did you cut power, electricity, etc.? Did you do a primary search, right? And so when I go in, you'll see me in the 2nd Division of a structure fire, and you'll tell that I was standing in the smoke layer. And to go underneath that, it'll tell how long did Evan stay in the smoke layer. During the 360, did he just look, did he even look into the 2nd Division, or did he pause on the kid that's hanging out the window throwing toys at you? So those are the types of things, right? Especially you talk about like what we're able to program.
Yeah.
They make a ton of games out in the world, zombie shooting games, right? We can program any amount of SOPs, SOGs. We just need to know how to instructional design, and that's actually.
Hold on, Tim.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
With IFC and some of the other, like Director Norwood of the Connecticut Fire
Connecticut Fire Academy is using it as well. Illinois Fire Service Institute is using it as well. The North American Fire Training Directors are taking a look at it.
Right.
We're going to get into grants that are available in a minute, and we'll talk about that kind of the tidy up.
Oh, sure.
But let's get you suited up. Let's get you an
I'm in.
interior fighter,
All right.
because I know that's what everybody wants to see.
We
Because
can
everybody's
probably
like,
skip this one.
all right, Walsh, come on now. I know you're just pitching this to pitch this, but is there real value in this? Does this benefit the firefight? Well,
Now you want to put
FlAIM
me
has
in,
been working with us now
residential.
for about 3 months. We use this for 56 in-house students in our in-house fire academy. Now we're bringing it out to the BOF students. There's 160 BOF students across the state. So 210 new firefighters in the state of Illinois are getting a look at the system and providing feedback along with our instructional staff. And they've already made changes to the system, added in team play, which everybody really wants to see, right? Because when we go to a fire, it's a team sport, it's not an individual sport. So there's incident command overlay, there's company officer overlay that are going to be evolving in the systems all across the country. So you can see Evan is working here at a regular structure fire. I'm going to step off camera so we can watch it on the screen. He's shutting off the gas meter before he goes in, and now he's moving to the front door. And you guys can tell that he uses this system a lot, that he's familiar with it, and he's demoed it before. He opens the door, and he's changing his direction. He's doing a search of the first floor before he moves upstairs. You can see the smoke layer at the top of the stairs, and now he's going to move upstairs.
And Tim, I know my mic is still on, so
He's going to move down the hallway. You can actually audibly hear the smoke detector going off in the hallway. He's getting below the smoke layer now. He can see better. If he stands, now he loses that visibility. It turns pitch black just like in a real fire. You can see some fire in the back corner there as he moves through the door. He opens the nozzle, cools the room before he enters, just as you would at a real fire.
you can see the difference in water vapor as it comes out, knowing that we put
Yeah,
water on.
when he changed the nozzle from straight stream to semi-fog, you can see that there was more steam being created in the room, which bears out the studies that we've done with Underwriters Laboratories and the other research organizations that we work with. He's crawling into the room, moving up on the fire, and applying water. Now in the team play, members can move off the hose, do a proper primary search of the fire room, a secondary search of the fire floor. Victims can be added in as the play gets more intricate. So everybody's being quiet right now for the actual video so that you can hear. But in a real fire, all these participants behind me would actually be talking to each other just like they would in a fire building. Go left, go right, communicating like they would at a real fire. There's an actual tick camera that goes on there as well. So he can check for heat. He can find where the fire's at if he can't see in the smoke. And am I forgetting anything, Evan, besides the tick camera?
No, that's it. So the microphone, the push-to-talk radio, you've got a flashlight that you can use.
And
these
then the
are
face
all,
piece to show air consumption as well.
Absolutely, yep.
We don't
Those
have that
all-
on today because we want to be able to talk to you and show you the device. So you can actually hear, I know I can hear, but if you're not in the room with me, you can actually hear that child calling out to the firefighter within the room so that the firefighter moves down that hallway and their brain gets used to listening for that while they're still operating with water, while they're still working with an SCBA. The ability to be quiet sometimes while you're operating so that you can hear if there's any occupants in the room is key, and they've actually built this into the system to replicate a real fire attack. Okay, Tim, we're going to give this back to you and let the students continue on with the propane stuff. Evan and I will move out of your way and kind of tidy up what we talked about today. I appreciate your time. Thanks very much. Guys, I appreciate it. I know you have 2 more weeks. Congratulations. And welcome to the best job in the world. You're going to love it. So let's talk about some of the things that we talked about now. There are AFG grants, because I can hear everybody out there going, all right, how am I going to get this, and how much does it cost?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to ask you how much it costs, because they can go on the FlAIM website and figure that all out. They can talk to you and some of your other salespeople. But is there grants available to fire departments and training organizations? How does that work? We were talking about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, no, good question. I know AFG, Assistant for Firefighting Grant, that is, I know with state fire training academies, AFG grant is very much possible. I know it's listed as a high priority for state fire training academies. And I know we've talked about other SAFER as well as fire protection and safety grants as well. I know that for individual departments, if you're able to band together, whether it's a mutual aid or within it's a district, you've got a higher chance of, I think, grant approval. I know the AFG was like $324 million funded out of a requested $2.4 billion, right? So that's all FEMA and federal money. They're clearly limited with what they can approve. So I think if you're able to link to a state fire training academy, or like I said, able to go in together. But I also know there's a ton of resources within FEMA about the Assistant for Firefighter grant. So your regional rep is probably the best person to talk to, because they can help you apply, I'm not going to say correctly, but make sure that this is cutting edge stuff, VR, we get that. So it's very specific in how I think you apply for it. So.
Yeah, and there's some other companies out there that do a little bit different stuff that you do. We're not endorsing FlAIM, but we like it. It's a fantastic tool. It's helping us teach students. However, let's talk about, you have, this has an industrial application.
Yeah.
This has a residential application just for fire extinguisher use.
Sure.
Rather than creating pan fuel fires like we used to when I first became a fire instructor.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so currently there's about, I think, 151 different training scenarios, and that's split between what you saw earlier, which is FlAIM Trainer, but then also, like Tim said, FlAIM Extinguisher. So it's about half, 50-50. But if you look at all of what our environments are, so an environment would be the residential area that you saw, the petrol or gas station that you saw there. So mining, industrial, oil and gas, maritime, shipping, defense is where we're very strong in, Air Force, and a couple other big contracts that we're currently working on. But globally, a lot of defense in Australia, Europe as well.
Yeah, and the military has been in VR for many years.
True.
And the fire service is obviously resistant to change. That's just the way that we're wired.
Yeah.
But I really believe that this is going to be a tool coming up very fast now, especially for training organizations.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why is what we were talking about earlier, the ability to teach live fire all day, all the time.
Right.
And the stress, heat stress and decon stress that puts on instructors.
Right.
We know that we still have to perform that training,
Yeah.
but this is a tool to maybe reduce some of the causality of cancers among fire instructors and firefighters across the country. And if we do proper decon, as identified by the Illinois Fire Service Institute and FRSI, that study was just released, and we provide instructors with the tools that they need to do that, but we provide this as well, I think that we're going to elongate careers for both volunteers, paid on call, and professional firefighters and instructors.
No, I think you're right. And you think, goes back to what we said when I first came on, right? Not a replacement for live fire. It's a stop along that. But the ability to do an EV fire in one scenario and then practice your proficiency in a structure fire, and then maybe there's a downed aircraft scenario. But the ability to use VR, so VR is when you can't see anything else behind you. AR is kind of like an overlay. So we typically use VR because I can put you in this scenario 1 second and then move you to another one. So that's the ability to train in all these different environments, kind of at a moment's notice. And the idea is repetition. You can't expect someone to be an expert if they don't get, but 6, live fires a year. This is at least a way for you to go through. And like I said, we're training the body more so than we're trying to training the mind more so than the body.
Right.
So getting your radio traffic down, getting your communications, incident command,
Holding a
size
TIC camera,
is,
moving a hose
all
line.
those things.
Yeah, all
It's
the
just
things
muscle
that-
memory,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you demo this to 210 students, as I said, all across the state. I'm sure that we'll be figuring out how to get one.
Yeah.
And we look forward to making the scenarios more realistic and the team play actually reflect what the fireground pace is like.
It's perfect.
Okay,
Thanks very much.
thanks. I'm going to tidy up here.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, we appreciate you joining us today for this half hour. We're going to be opening registration for Winter Fire School, January 20th and 21st here in the next week. It's on our website at fsi.illinois.edu. We're also going to provide another Facebook forum with Illini EMS. Illini EMS is a portion of the Illinois Fire Service Institute, where we have college students who are EMT and CPR trained that perform as first responders, foot teams, all across the university for football games, basketball games, and any university event. Most of those students go into the medical profession. Some even become doctors and nurses all across the country. So we're going to highlight that cooperation between two corporate partners, Zoll Medical and Stryker Medical, and what they're doing for us to be able to provide that level of response on the university campus for free. So we want to thank Jim Rivera and the Illinois State Fire Marshal's Office for funding BOF across the state of Illinois. As I said, we're approaching 1,046 certified students in December. It's a great free program for volunteers and paid on call that can attend a full-time academy but get the same training as a full-time academy. So this is Tim Walsh signing off from the Cherry Valley Fire Protection District, and we'll see you again here at the Illinois Fire Service Institute. Take care and be safe.